welcome to For the Story, the only podcast hosted by two escaped lab rats. I'm Rat.
And I'm Rat 2. That's right.
We can count two. It's probably because of the medical experiments.
It's like flowers for Algernon.
Yeah, or for whoever. I don't really care.
Yeah, or for rats.
Yeah, because I'm a rat and I can't read.
More like the no escaped lab rats.
Nice. That's irrelevant to this week. Oh my God. We just got out of Hell World. That's why we didn't have an episode last week.
Yeah. The entire state of Texas was completely frozen solid.
Yeah.
And we had to stay without power for quite some time.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze and Leonard Snart came and froze the city.
Leonard Snart.
I'm gonna snort.
I'm gonna snort.
Oh man, I'm snorting so hard right now.
Oh, did he just snort?
I'm snorting still.
Oh, God. I'm gonna snort.
Uh-oh, it's time for me to snort again.
Oh no, I'm snotting again.
Oh God, I'm just kind of worried if I go in public, I'm gonna snot in front of all the people.
Worst character name, I think, of all time.
Yeah.
Maybe the best, actually.
Man,
if you think about it.
Yeah, we're like less than a month out from the new Justice League and the Tom and Jerry movie, which I'm really.
That sounds like name a better movie duo for a podcast.
A more iconic duo, Tom and Jerry and the Justice League.
Wow, that's only like what, 8 hours of movie we'll have to watch. What if the Tom and Jerry movie was 4 hours long?
Dude, what is it directed by Ari Aster? Ari Aster, please don't make a 4-hour horror comedy. I've been asking for months.
A 4-hour Tom and Jerry horror comedy.
Honestly, it's horrible that they're making that movie.
And Chloe Grace Moretz is in it.
Oh, God.
Like, because I guess her career is not going anywhere anymore. Or they offered her a lot of money.
Like, hard
to say.
Her entire career doesn't make sense to me. She's like more successful Joey King.
Yeah.
From the Kissing Booth.
They're like exactly the same.
Yeah, they both were in like horror movies as children.
Yeah.
Then they did like rom-com-y kind of things.
And now they're just still doing rom-com-y kind of things.
Yeah, the ultimate rom-com.
My God, they're exactly the same. Like they even have like, they even kind of look similar, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
They're like pasty white girls.
Yeah, with like, they like that big eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How unique. Maybe they're related.
Yeah. So someone was bringing up in my like work Slack the Mortal Kombat movie, and I'm like, yeah, but the best movie that's coming out directly to HBO Max is going to be Tom and Jerry, though, right? And everyone was like, I don't like. They just like were just playing. Like they're like, I don't know about that, and I'm like, no, watch this.
It looks like I don't know what like people are thinking when they dig up these like 100-year-old cartoons and decide to make. Like, what are they thinking? Like, how is that relevant to anyone except like the baby boomers or like the silent generation?
Well, Tom and Jerry would be more like Gen X. I guess they have money for it.
Yeah, I guess so.
But like, what are they going to do? Take their terrible children to the theaters?
Yeah, like they're terrible like mid-30s children. Like I don't get it.
We clearly don't know the age of any generation on this show. That's one of our selling
Gen X would be like, Gen X was like,
they're like 94
my
right
parents.
now, or?
What's that?
How old are they, like 94 or?
Gen X? No, they're like 55.
I guess your parents are Gen X.
Yeah,
so
my
almost
parents
30.
are Gen X. So
okay,
that's what I was saying.
Okay,
all right. Gen X and those old 35-year-old Gen Xers. It's like, well, that was the case like when we were kids, but.
Well, I mean, like the youngest Gen X would be like at 37, 38 now.
I guess probably right around there.
Yeah.
Maybe. That would be like the absolute youngest. Like we're on the younger end of millennials, right?
Yeah. Well, and
most millennials are like in their mid-30s now.
I'm technically in the generation after Z on account of the fact I'm a baby.
Oh, yeah, just a literal baby.
Yeah, I'm an adult baby.
The generation after Z, what's it going to be? Is it just going to roll back to A? Is that or no, it'll be Z.1.
I'll be, be Z-Bo.
Generation Z-Bo.
The zombie-only generation.
The Z-Bo.
That'd be an interesting take
J-Bo.
on a zombie movie.
Yeah,
Like,
you could get phone but too much real quick with it.
Yeah.
Generation Z, they're just zombies walking around on their phones.
well, it's just like the idea
It
that
writes
like
itself.
there's like zombies aren't like a disease, but it's genetic. Like that an entire generation of people were born zombies, and like what society would look like if that was the case. That's like a good horror comedy.
Zombies are people too, dude.
I was pitching you that one movie where it's like it's from the POV of like this town of people that are kind of backwards, and this like breed of hunter comes through, and they have very advanced weapons. They talk in a weird made up language, and they're very smart. And then the twist at the end is that the people in the village were zombies the whole time, and you were seeing like an entire story from the POV of zombies.
They build a zombie society and write zombie laws and elect a zombie president.
Yeah, and the movie's called Zombieland.
And the movie's called Zomboy.
Zombie villas.
The movie's called Zebos.
Zebos.
Dang Zebos.
I also watched the beginning of that movie, Cuties, and then I lost interest really quick.
I don't know which one that is.
The one with Elijah Wood, Rainn Wilson,
That's right.
and a bunch of other people I recognize.
That one we both caught the beginning of, and it there were some like great lines.
Oh yeah, it was really well written, script, really tight. But then like the zombie part was the part that sucked.
Yeah, and then I had to hide in my cave and play video games, so wasn't able to watch it.
That's
The
fine.
games were calling.
I was out there and I wasn't watching it. So
I was twitching and like itching my arm. Like, ugh,
gotta put them right in my fucking veins.
I need the games.
We talk about movies.
What's a movie? I need games.
And this week we have a Rolodex of film. We have Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, that's the one.
What was the name of the movie you recommended?
Resolution.
I was going to say Rehabilitation. A little too on the nose.
Close. Close.
Both are words.
Yeah.
And then the last one was The No Escape Room.
We watched another one too.
What? Oh, yeah.
We did.
The Haunting in Connecticut 2.
Two Electric Boogaloo.
The Ghosts of Georgia.
That's right.
Which is
That's the one. Which none of it took place in Connecticut.
It all just took place in Georgia.
So instead of making a haunting in Georgia, they decided to cash in on that hard hitting IP, a haunting in Connecticut.
I can't imagine that movie made money.
I mean, see, the thing is, a lot of those horror movies, especially like when those came out.
What year were those?
I think a haunting. The first one, I'm pretty sure, was like 2009. So horror movies didn't cost shit back then. So honestly, it probably did make its money back. I'm pretty sure I saw a Haunting in Connecticut in the theaters.
I'm pretty sure I saw the Haunting in Connecticut 3 is coming out finally.
Are you serious?
No.
This time it's not even taking place in the United States. A Haunting in Connecticut 3.
Phantasm of Puerto Rico.
They're crossing the border illegally from Puerto Rico into the United States.
Or we could,
the hard land border of Puerto Rico and the United States.
Well, listen, they share. Listen. Hey, listen. They just shouldn't be crossing the invisible line between the land that they're on and the direct line that touches where we live.
Yeah, because the United States owns the whole ocean.
Well, there's no ocean between Puerto Rico and the United States. They're right next to each other.
Well, yeah, they share a land border.
Yeah, they share a land border.
Exactly.
Yeah, how dare you? Don't even bring the ocean into this.
Dude, you cross the border from Texas, you end up right in Puerto Rico. And I'm so surprised people don't know this.
Yeah, of course. This is such a
it
dumb
was one
joke.
of it was one of Trump's platforms. He wanted to stop the Puerto Ricans from crossing the border illegally.
And he did it personally by throwing toilet paper at them.
As a weapon.
A very effective weapon in the arms of a true Rambo-esque hero.
In the arms of a true baseball player. I presume a baseball player could probably throw toilet paper hard enough to hurt someone.
Yeah.
At least to deter them momentarily.
There's that one movie where there was it was the baseball movie where the guy would stand next to the street sign that measures how fast the car is going by, and he would throw it, and it'd be like, 64 miles an hour.
That doesn't even work.
No, it doesn't. It works not even a little bit. But I would have loved it if like there was a car in the background of those shots, where it's like it was just the car going that fast.
Oh, like that gag from The Office when Michael Scott runs past it and a car goes by and he's just like, "Look, I got it, 43." And everyone's like, "That's not even. Come on." But no, those street signs that show your speed limit, I'm pretty sure they work by having like a cable and it measures the distance between your front wheel and your back wheel hitting it, and then I guess it does a math problem and calculates your. So you could probably cheese them by driving a much longer car than the average person, and then you'll never get caught speeding.
Interesting.
It'll be hard to get around turns.
You could drop two cars at virtually the same time, microseconds apart from one another, so their wheels hit them at different times, so it thinks that you're going like really fast.
This is all worth it to avoid a speeding ticket that you might not get anyway. This would make you go
so fast that the cops would be like, "Damn, this guy's cool. Never mind."
Yeah, it's just an elaborate trick shot, if anything.
Do we want to get into these movies?
No.
Okay, cool. That's it, guys. There's nothing to see.
So we watched Texas Chainsaw Shawshank Redemption.
So it was just Texas Chainsaw. This was originally Texas Chainsaw 3D, which we could tell from 3 shots of this movie.
And then they weren't even good ones.
Oh, this movie
sucked.
This movie sucked so much.
But it was worthwhile to try it.
This was the first like full movie we've like made it through in a second.
And it was enjoyable to groan our way through it. Yeah, at least it was Alexandria Daddario, who is 8 feet tall.
Yep,
and she's a very tall lady. And it also starred some frumpy guy.
And that guy who was trying to be Joey Fatone.
Yeah, and then her best friend who was banging her boyfriend, and it had no.
Trey Songz, the R&B artist Trey Songz was her boyfriend.
No,
literally, that was the actor.
Okay. And there was no resolution or payoff for her best friend sleeping with her boyfriend.
Nope.
It never even came up again. It was in one scene, never came up again.
Yeah.
And then they just died the next scene.
Yeah.
They literally like run out of the barn.
They had a lot of like off-screen kills in this movie too. It was weird.
They had a lot of really boring kills in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, even Hellfest had better kills.
Yeah. No, Hellfest had the worst kills.
I don't know, man.
The thing about this is like one of the things that makes a Texas so there hasn't been a good Texas Chainsaw movie since the one that came out in the 70s.
Yeah, makes
People
sense.
keep trying to make the Texas Chainsaw Massacre into like a slasher, and I think the reason people do that is because the original one is a slasher movie and really kind of spawned a lot of that, but none of the sequels were good.
Yeah.
So it just like it spawned a whole subgenre, but it never really grew into the subgenre on its own.
Yeah.
And so people keep trying. There was the second one is I think came out in the 80s, and that's the one where the police chief duels Leatherface with chainsaws.
Yeah.
It's really stupid. That's actually kind of a fun one to watch.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I think that the big fault of this movie is they didn't cash in the same way that Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street did, where they just were like fucking pumping them out like you wouldn't believe.
It's like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday like another one year after year after year, and like they really built, like they solidified what you were gonna get from it. Like you knew what you were gonna. It's gonna be the same movie, but what the Friday the 13th and like all those did is they built on it, and it slowly got more supernatural and a little more ridiculous movie by movie.
Yeah,
and that escalation is fun. But the thing is that they just kind of kept retrying to make Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So they did a third one too, and there's one that has Matthew McConaughey in it that's like totally unrelated and terrible. I think he like crashes a plane on Leatherface or something. It's something insane like that. It's not a good movie.
Damn, Hitchcock. Hitchcock is hell.
And then the last one, then there was the one that came out in 2003 or 2004. I think it's Sandra Bullock is in that.
Oh God.
Is that who that is?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember who it is. She's a hot lady though.
I've only seen like the original one and this one.
Yeah, and she's wearing the mandatory Texas Chainsaw uniform of low-rise jeans and 70s hot girl shirt.
Damn.
And
same with Alexandria Daddario, only she had
exactly
a belt not attached to anything around her waist.
It was cool. And Yeah. So there was that. There was one that came out in 2007 that was kind of like riding on the success of the 03 or 04 one as like a kind of soft sequel, or it might have been a prequel. I don't know. I watched it and couldn't pay attention. But my point is that what these movies, at least the ones that work a little bit better, do is they get the disgusting grittiness of like his lair where he's like skinning people alive and stuff. And it looks like good in some of those other ones, but in this one it just looked like a cheap set, so it like sucked.
Like the best thing I could say about it is like the one part where he sews the mask through his cheek. That was effective. That was kind of skeevy.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, but besides that,
there really wasn't anything of value at all. It was like we didn't care about our main character. She had nothing. Well, she had more characterization than other movies we watched this week.
Yeah, for sure. But like, so the general plot of this one is Alexandria Daddario. They start the movie by showing you the end of the first one, and then like it's like the cops like, get out, Leatherface, you're under arrest.
Oh, that's not the end of the first one. That's at the beginning of this one, and like the cop shows up, and like the families hold up there, and there's like a shootout. The cop's like, you're under arrest, you gotta come out of there. And then the town rednecks drive in, and they're just like, we're gonna get him. And then the one guy's like, special delivery. It's so funny.
And they're like the best part of the movie. Molotov cocktails. They burn down the house, and then they like cut forward, and Alexandria Daddario is working in like meat in like a fucking grocery store, which is great foreshadowing for the really bad twist of the movie.
Cut and jump forward in time. They go from these rednecks basically burn down the
Sawyer
Leatherface's house and kill his family. It's like a horrific incident. Like it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, and it's supposed to be like in the real world, it would be a horrible, terrible vigilante justice thing to do. But in the movie, it just comes across really flat and almost funny because these bumbling redneck idiots are like, special delivery.
Yeah.
It's so like literally that's a line. We're gonna get him. And it's just like every like dumb corn-fed fucking voice ever.
They all have the exact same voices, all 80-yard. One guy did it. Like that's how I felt.
Delivery. It's like every character I do.
Yeah. Listen to Stories and Sorcery. Just hear Avery do that for hours.
No, Hank's voice is a little more refined than that.
Okay, chill.
Yeah.
But Alexandria Daddario receives a letter that her like grandma died, because it turns out that she's related to this family.
She's related to Leatherface.
Yeah, and it turns out that she's like his sister. And like the whole
no, his cousin.
Yeah, cousin. You're right.
Yeah,
and like he finds out because of a birthmark that they kind of Chekhov's gun at the beginning, real obviously.
That's right.
And but so they go into this house and they're like ready to have a party, and some guy that they picked up like hangs out in the house alone and robs it, and then Leatherface fucking murders him. Yeah, oh my god, cheap Brad Pitt was so bad.
Then, like after like they leave this guy that they picked up hitchhiking, which is also another theme in these Texas Chainsaw movies. There's always a hitchhiker.
I mean, this is returning to our roots in a way. The first movie we ever reviewed was the Texas Dildo Masquerade
with Ron Jeremy in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And Ted Raimi in a fat suit.
He was still fucking though.
Yeah.
He was still fucking in that wheelchair.
I would say the Dildo Masquerade was a better movie than Texas Chainsaw. Like, honestly, the Dildo Masquerade had some shocking and ridiculous scenes.
Oh, yeah.
In it.
Just like the fucking like.
That's the one where she like gets out of the ice chest and is covered in dildos or something.
Yeah.
Right?
And like Leatherface has like I think it's called like penis face is what they called him. And
yeah, they called him penis face. That's right.
And he's got like a chainsaw with dildos on it.
Oh my God. What a time to be alive. Everyone.
God, we have some quality content.
Yeah,
guys.
Go back and listen to our first like 60 episodes. They're all about terrible porn. There's a couple episodes we sound pretty exhausted, and I think if you can't make it to
if you want to listen to like our mental decline that has led us to be these characters you hear now.
Yeah, it's a good starting place. It really put some movies into perspective for us. I think we gained an appreciation for real film.
Yeah, even the bad ones. But yeah, so this movie, nothing really happens. I think like one of the good scenes in this is like Leatherface chasing her through the carnival was pretty okay. I think that's kind of an exciting twist where it's like it's so public, because I feel like these movies typically like kind of keep it like on like a creepy farm place.
Yeah, like one by one, all of her friends have to die, and then there's a prolonged sequence where the main character runs from Leatherface for like 30 minutes.
And then it gets really confusing because like Yeah, those rednecks did vigilante justice, but yeah, also Leatherface is a fucking mass murderer who's like not cognizant of what he's doing.
Yeah, and she's like defending him.
It's really weird.
Yeah, I think it's like they wanted to do, because like in the Jason movies, like the Friday the 13th ones, Jason, because every movie you have a new cast of like kids who get murdered by Jason. Eventually Jason has to become the main character because he's the only recurring character.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they thought they were getting to. Like, they're going to kill everyone off, and then we're going to get, you know, maybe a sequel with Alexandria Daddario, but she's kind of too good for this shit.
Yeah.
So that obviously never happened again. Yeah. Right.
And also the really good part where Leatherface throws his chainsaw and it's in 3D.
Oh yeah, we were hoping it was gonna like come back to him. That's the kind of dumbass shit this needed.
Needed to be Mjolnir.
Yeah, it needed to he needed to have ridiculous supernatural powers. That would have made this so much better. Like if he threw it and then like came back to him and like they dueled chainsaws.
Yeah.
That's what makes that second one actually kind of fun, is that it's a terrible movie, but they know that it's impossible to make a sequel to the first one that's worthwhile. So
just like, it's way too serious. You know, it's the same problem that new Nightmare on Elm Street had.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like part of what made the 80s slashers good is that they became less and less serious.
They're campy.
Yeah,
they're intentionally campy, and that it doesn't matter because it's fun.
True failure of a film, this movie.
Yeah, it really is. It's like not even bad enough or goofy enough to be fun on an ironic level. It's just like
the most interesting part of the movie is the history of the film franchise.
Yeah, seriously. The most interesting part about this movie is literally just the first movie, and I don't know why they keep trying to remake these. And it's like, because they did the ones like they probably really thought that they were going to reboot a franchise with this movie, and then it came out, and I'm sure nobody saw it. Like, I never heard about this one. Like this movie it's not even noteworthy. And you know, so it's like the ones that came out in like the mid 2000s have their like place, and they're not horrible, they're not great, but I mean, like, they at least nail the disgusting, dirty, blood soaked, like there's some like good stuff. It's like, it reminds me of blood and sawdust and dirt. It's gross.
Like, it made that newer Halloween movie from 2018 look good, and that was not a great movie.
No, it wasn't, but it was better than this.
It actually like had the production value, and like it was doing something.
Yeah, it's like, you could tell that they were just like, we're gonna make a Texas Chainsaw movie, but it's gonna be fucking 3D, and then like we didn't watch it in 3D, so we don't actually know.
But they didn't do like the hammy 3D shots. They did
which would have been fun, especially if like he was doing like throwing it, and if it like came back to him, that would have been fucking awesome.
This needed to be done in 4D.
Yeah, we needed to smell the blood.
Yeah, they needed to like shower you with like corn syrup in the middle.
Viscera.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I wish. That would be so awesome.
That would be sick.
Like an engaging horror movie experience like that. That would be really cool. But nope, that's not what we got. Instead, that movie was boring. And Alexandria Daddario falls in love with Leatherface at the end. And
brother, cousin! Wait, what
they get married.
That's going to be a theme of this episode.
Delivery.
It's a wedding ring. Oh, they're cousins. Let's move on to the next movie. Was it Retribution?
Resolution. So, this is a movie. Yeah, I forget what the director's name is. I'll probably never remember. But there's two directors. It's a duo of guys. And this movie came out, I think, in 2014. I had watched it several years back, and I kept remembering it on and off sporadically over the last year because the setup is really good, and I wanted Ash to see it to see if it was, you know, if what he thought about it really. And just like previously, the setup is decent, and then the payoff is not.
Yeah.
And so basically the story of Resolution and what makes it interesting is basically our main character, or our POV character, Mike, has a friend named, what was his name? Was it Chris?
Chris sounds right.
It's a Chris.
It's a white generic name, like super common top 100 most common male names.
Yeah. But he's like kind of an asshole, but he's also a drug addict, and he's like doing meth and living out in the woods on what we find out later is a Native American reservation. And like he's squatting in a house and like just doing drugs and like shooting, losing his mind.
Yeah, shooting fucking guns at birds that aren't there.
Yeah, and Mike gets a video of him like, you know, doing crazy shit and a map location. And he's like, okay. So he says goodbye to his wife and says like, okay, I got to go and help him. Either I'm going to get him into rehab so he can kick methamphetamine or whatever it is he's doing, or I'm going to handcuff him to whatever house this is, camp out there, and we're going to get him to kick the drugs. So obviously, Chris is like, I'm not getting off drugs. Like, I like doing this. I have a crazy, insane lifestyle, and he likes it. And so he handcuffs him to the house and forces him off of the drugs, which is basically the setup. So they're camping there. Some of the best parts of this movie are their like relationship and like some of like the bits, and they comicalize, or what is it? They
bring levity to the situation.
Yeah, exactly. And the characters feel like they have been friends, and that, you know, Mike actually cares for his friend, even though like his friend is clearly an asshole. But it's like they do bring levity to it. I think they spoof on the whole drugs thing a little more than is comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I kind of wish they went a little grittier with like the whole like drug stuff, but it felt real enough. And it wasn't like, it didn't need to be realistic enough for the setting for it to like work. But basically they're on a camp out, and Chris, or whatever the friend's name is, kicking drugs. And then weird shit starts happening. And that's when the movie falls apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I actually had a theory about this movie, and it's 100% probably wrong.
Okay.
But I think, so we were like talking about this during the film. We were looking up like withdrawal symptoms to see how accurate they were being. Being pretty accurate. One of the big ones is like psychosis and like schizoaffective things, right?
Yeah.
That's also something that happens when you're on meth. Here's my theory.
Okay.
Guy getting him off the drugs was smoking it himself, and they were both having a shared delusion about everything.
Who knows? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it could be cool. It's like basically they're living out.
It would have been better than what it actually was, which is like a monster wants them to finish the story.
Yeah, which it kind of sounds like they had this great setting and they didn't know how to finish the script.
Story.
Yeah, and so I don't know if this was their directorial debut. I think it was.
Okay.
It was that, or it was like their second movie.
Well, did they also do Spring, you said?
Yeah, they did Spring. They did one that just came out called Synchronic, with Anthony Mackie, I think, is in it.
Why? Every time I see Anthony Mackie, it's like, why is he being hired? Like when he's like talking about like shit in a brick during Real Steel or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot he was in Real Steel. Yeah, he plays those character actors. I guess the people want him to be a lead. I don't think he's a lead.
Nope.
I don't think so at all. I think he's fine. I think he plays a fine side superhero character. But I think that's about where his career is going to go, at least for me.
Yeah.
But I heard Synchronic's not very good anyway.
Makes sense. Anthony Mackie's in it. I'm taking a really weird stance here on Anthony Mackie, but okay. I'm doing it.
Spring was a much better movie than Resolution.
I've heard good things. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I don't know if it was just like kind of like a one-off, like they managed to like nail one of their movies, but Spring was pretty good. I think that one was a little more relatable too.
Yeah.
You might like that one. But yeah, so Resolution, basically they're out in the woods and they start finding creepy pictures of like weird people like dying out in the middle of the woods and shit. And they find like a film reel of a guy like dying and like doing a whole bunch of drugs and dying and like all this like crazy creepy shit.
Like, stuff like they start getting like videos of themselves in the future,
which on their own, not fucking bad.
No.
Like on its own. But what ends up happening is like they're using these film reels to like see the future of what's going to happen. And like they're trying to avoid it. Like they get a film reel or they get a video on their laptop or something of like these kids who want like to steal drugs from them, basically, coming to the house and just like beating them to death. And then there's another one where like the Native Americans or the tribesmen come and like shoot them for like staying at the house they're squatting in for too long, which he like Mike has paid them off earlier in the movie. But like, so they keep doing this and they keep adjusting what they're doing, and like it just fizzles out. They end up like missing something,
or that really weird RV scene where he's like talking to the French guy who sounds German.
Yeah,
who's
the
like
the RV scene to get it to feature length.
Yeah, like holy shit, that was such a bad scene.
It was so boring and like didn't fit in, and like was an unnecessary diversion from what was going on. Like I really would have liked to just had more of them, you know, building their relationship and then like being forced to get through something together. And you know, I don't know. I think that would have been better. The relationship and like the set or the setting was like the best part of the movie, and it just like falls apart in that like third act. And so in the end, it turns out they end up back at the cabin, and like it gets lit on fire or blows up or something. Yeah,
and like a giant shadow gets mad at them, and then it ends.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that like it's not even. You don't even see it. It's just like they have the camera overlooking the cabin where you see them on the ground, and it like rises up and makes a loud noise, and they're both like, "We're so sorry," and then the movie ends.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't know, like it's not. It sucks because like the movie itself is cool.
They could have done something a lot more traditional.
I know they should have done something more traditional. It sounds like they just wanted to be different and couldn't think of something that was different enough.
Yeah, they could just do like standard American ghost stuff, and it would have worked way better.
Or like something creepy living out in the woods.
Or even like a possession thing that kind of overlaps with him getting clean.
Oh my God.
Like,
right?
And that would have been great. And then
that's like Evil Dead 2013.
Yeah.
Did the same thing. Yeah. And like that would have been more effective than what they did.
Yeah.
And probably could have ridden on like the success of it. Maybe a little overly compared to Evil Dead.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, like that would have been was
cool.
A better execution of the whole. And also it was like a more physical drug withdrawal with heroin as opposed to meth.
Yeah, I think that would have been better too. Yeah. I don't think that would have fit the time frame or his psychosis as well.
No, it wouldn't.
But they didn't really go all the way with the psychosis either.
No, he just kept saying he wanted to kill himself.
Yeah, and like
eventually got kind of tired.
Yeah, he just like exactly.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know.
I think Evil Dead 2013 is just a better
example of this movie. Yeah, I think so too. Because it's not wholly. They're very similar, and Evil Dead kind of ramps it up turns it up to 11 in a lot of places. Like the gore is just exceptional.
Yeah.
It's like so much fun, so gross, but in the movie also like ends satisfyingly. But this movie, like for all of its like great ideas, has just as many lackluster ideas,
especially just midway through the second act.
Yeah. I mean, like even like the second act when things are ramping up a little bit, you're like, ooh, what's going on? It's like the beginning of the third act drops off.
Yeah,
just so hard. And because I think the beginning of the third act is really when he talks to the guy in the RV, and then just everything from there on out is just like boring, and like they're like solving a puzzle, and there's no real like threat of urgency, even though there technically is.
And they didn't do a very good job like foreshadowing it to the audience to at least have a know, which would have helped them actually make that ending a little more concise, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, like where resolution could have been great, it kind of just fizzles out. And I feel like I remember that because we talked about it beforehand, and I was just like, I think it starts out really great and then ends really poorly.
Yeah. And
that's exactly what ended up happening. Another one that this movie reminds me of that I think came out around the same time. I keep forgetting the name of it, but I'm going to figure it out. But it's about the two guys who are in the zombie apocalypse together, and they end up like stuck in a car surrounded by zombies. And it's kind of like Jaws in a lot of ways. And
I like that.
There's some like, it's like, it's good from a character perspective, and it has a satisfying ending too. So I'm going to see if I can find that one.
Hell yeah.
I think that was a Shudder one. I'll see if I can pull it up. But
we want to move to the last film. I have a lot.
We have two more.
Two more?
Yeah, we did Resolution, Texas Chainsaw, and
now it's time for The Haunting.
The Haunting in Connecticut 2.
Ghosts of Georgia.
Yeah, Ghosts of Georgia. The worst title. Just the sheer worst title.
We didn't really pay attention to the end of this movie.
No, because this movie's bad.
This movie's really bad.
It stars porn actors and also Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica and an annoying little girl.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And,
the little girl from Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah. She's having a shock frenzy. Well, what was the name of the creepy ghost man? Mr. Gordo.
Oh yeah, Mr. Gordy.
Mr. Gordy. So basically, this movie starts with some bad CGI. Our main character, the mom character, Ms. Mom, sees ghosts, but she takes antipsychotic medication to like not see ghosts. I guess she sees a dead apparition of her mother.
Yep.
Like judging her or something.
Yeah, or like telling her what to do or whatever.
Being domineering.
I'm guessing based on how obvious this movie is that she was warning her about something and she was trying to ignore it because she thought that it was just her mom haunting her.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and then so like
who knows? I didn't pay attention to the end.
all I know is at the very beginning I guessed that they were going to do an Underground Railroad thing, and I was right.
Very right. Yeah, and
so like these people moved to like a station house for the Underground Railroad, and they're like owned by the Gordy family, and then one of them was just a super racist bad guy, and that was the ghost that the little girl's talking to.
Yep.
And then they get a dog.
They get a dog. The dog keeps. They get a dog for the scene. Literally the next scene, they're all like happy, like "Yay, we got a dog!" And literally the next scene, the dog runs off. Yeah. It's like they literally got a dog so it could run off into the woods.
Yeah, yeah.
Like as they were like adopting the dog, they were like, "This is a great dog to forward the plot along." Signing papers and stuff.
Oh my God,
so terrible, and it gets trapped in like this awful trap. It's like, remember that?
Yeah.
Which actually was pretty sad.
Yeah, it was pretty
dog.
fucked up.
Yeah. And then they find like a burnt down Underground Railroad house, and there's people that just hang out there. Remember that?
They just like have an old black lady who talks to the little girl about her vision.
Very soothsayery. It's a little bit of a trope.
Yeah, it's very tropey. And then like they'd show up out of nowhere. I don't really understand. Like, it's just everything in this movie is like psychotically, like Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, just like everything seems to be perfectly placed at just the exact moment that it needs to happen. And it's just
uninspired time in horror history.
It really was. I think the most annoying part is that this was called A Haunting in Connecticut, and it took place in Georgia. Like, who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out, like, because you've seen A Haunting in Connecticut twice now.
Yeah.
What was the tie-in?
I don't think there was one.
Okay, cool.
I didn't watch the whole movie, the second one, so I really don't know.
The Josts of Connecticut. Don't you think Colin Jost probably is from Connecticut?
Probably. Jost Busters.
Jost busted. We have a lot of Josts about him.
A lot of Josts.
I don't think anyone gets as much flack as Colin Jost does in our normal life podcast.
Just in our everyday life.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably say his name.
Is his word?
Well, it is his word, too.
Dude, you can't say that. That's his word.
So there was a scene in this movie where the little girl is like, she's meeting with like she keeps seeing this racist old guy.
Yeah.
And we were thinking like, man, how funny would it be if like, because there's like a black preacher character that comes to their house and like tells them about how it was a station master house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what if the little girl just like drops a hard R-N bomb talking to this priest or like how
like my friend told me it's actually good to call them that.
Yeah. Something like that. And he's just like, oh. Like that's how they could have made this movie like kind of work. Like that's the only thing that could have salvaged this was like something terrible like that.
Why was Starbuck even in this? Like she was like the failure aunt who like lives in an RV in the backyard.
Yeah, she was just like, that RV actually sounds kind of awesome to live in or something.
Yeah,
it was she's like, okay. I've lived in worse. It's just like, really?
Maybe you shouldn't.
Like yikes.
Yeah. as you might have noticed, not a lot to say about this one because we didn't finish it.
Yeah. We finished it. We just didn't pay attention.
Yeah. We're doing.
And also, it's a bad movie.
Yeah,
So
don't watch the
bad.
I know that y'all are on Tubi if you listen to this show.
Yeah.
Doing the top tier Tubi takedown.
Top 10 Tubi takedown 2021.
This is not in the top 10 Tubi takedown 2021.
That's what we should do.
Oh my god.
End of the year, we'll do the top 10 Tubi takedown 2021.
Oh my god.
It's just such a good alliteration.
Yeah. We can watch Hitman again.
Hitman 2.
It's actually
Haunting in Connecticut. Hitman 2 Ghosts of Georgia.
God damn it.
Oh, dude. What a bad movie.
Yeah. It's terrible.
So Porn Dad was like a corrections officer.
Yeah.
And they got a dog and we're like, well.
Uh-oh. And then we're like, no, he's not a cop. He's not a cop. He's a corrections officer.
Yeah, it's like the same scene that they say that he's a corrections officer. It's like they fucking know.
They know our joke that we make every time there's a cop in this.
Well, this was a Tubi movie and it was generated by an AI specifically for us since we're the only ones who watch Tubi.
It's really crazy how they get them up onto IMDb before we have a chance to watch them.
Yeah, well, the Mandela effect or whatever. The
Tangelo effect.
The Manila effect. The Tangelo effect. Oh my god.
I'm really excited to talk about the No Escape Room.
The No Escape Room. Let's get into it.
All right, this is a made-for-TV movie.
Very clearly, there are actually commercial breaks.
Yep.
There's at least 5 of them.
And it was like, it's an escape room movie, obviously, but it's
but it's not the movie Escape Room.
No,
it's the No Escape Room.
Yeah, this is that's
so they don't get sued.
Yeah, of course. And oh my god, there's so much weird about this movie. Number one, cinematography is randomly amazing and then also not good, and it's crazy how much it oscillates between the two.
Like, it clearly had some kind of visual vision behind it. And there were fleeting moments of like competence that were bookended with just poor decisions.
Yeah, they did the inverted car shot from Midsummer, and like
and it looked pretty
great.
good. It was a great opening. It was probably where half the budget went.
Yeah, holy shit! Like,
because we know it didn't go to our actors.
No, oh my god. Well, we have Karen and her father, who are the same age. Like literally,
the dad character looks like. If someone said like he's our age, like if they said like, yeah, he's like 32. If we found that out, I'd be like,
yeah, that's about
probably that seems about right.
And the woman looked like any SNL actress who is dressing up as a teenager for a sketch. Like she's just like clearly a lot older than they're making her out to be, but they're like, oh, but we'll put lip balm on or like lip gloss on her.
Done. No, she's 14 or whatever.
Yeah, and then like
18.
There's just like no age.
Like consistency. All the characters seem to be all over the place.
Yeah, because she's like being hit on by this guy who looks like he's like 30 years old and on gear.
That's right.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Who gets an off-screen kill?
Yeah, he gets sucked through the tube, remember?
Oh, how could I forget?
When they're in the sewers or whatever, he gets sucked through. Yes, the sewers that are in the No Escape Room, by the way.
Listen, this is more of a no escape house, all right?
So it's pretty clear what happens in this movie. The Lauren, what's her name?
Karen,
I was close.
Yeah.
Karen and her dad, whose name is just Dad.
I don't remember his name.
I don't think he had one. I'm pretty sure he was just Dad.
Yeah.
They all... Their car breaks down in some fucking middle of nowhere town that looks a lot like Pennsylvania, and they are asking around town at a diner, hey, what the fuck should we do in this middle of nowhere fucking podunk bullshit baby bitch town? And the diner lady, in a very close shot
where it's like just under her chin and it makes her look like menacingly huge. Yeah, it's very weird.
She looks enormous.
Yeah, and she's also dressed like a German Hausfrau.
Yeah,
so it doesn't.
She's like, oh, hangle dangle, escape a room and dinga hunga.
She's Danish now. Okay.
Yeah, hinga dinga.
But yeah, she's like, there's an escape room and no one ever comes back.
Don't ever do it. Don't do it. And then they're just like, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, and there's this weird scene in the bathroom where the girl's like looking at a necklace.
And then Olga or whatever her name is bursts out of the stall. She's like, damn, don't go in there.
I just took a mad growler.
I just dropped a growler, if you know what I'm saying. It's like when she's working at the diner, she has her dainty little hingle dangle voice, but then as soon as she gets in the bathroom,
I just took a shot.
damn it. Oh, God. She's like smoking a cigarette, smoking like 2 cigarettes like this. Yeah, don't go in there.
Yeah. And they go to this escape room, which is actually like a kind of a neat exterior shot. And they go into this building.
Which is like very clearly just like a historical building that's been restored in like Pennsylvania.
And they go inside, and this lady Josie, who's really obnoxious, brings them into the room with
very clearly theater girl.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. We have to also say that while some of the acting is okay, at best, none of the acting is good in this. Like like removing, like especially our dad character was so bad. Yeah. It was so bad, and like the way he delivered his lines lacked passion so disappointingly.
Yeah.
Like there was like like one scene where he tries to push the meathead steroid guy up against the wall, and he's just like, tell me where she is, or something like that. It's just so weak.
Yeah.
And disappointing.
Give you a quick rundown on who's good and who's bad and who's okay. Karen's okay. Dad's terrible. Meathead linebacker okay. Other two people. He has
too many lines for a side character. It's annoying.
And like they don't actually give him any purpose in the film, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And then there's the couple who end up being pointless. Although the lady has probably one of the more interesting deaths.
Yeah. That's definitely a fun one.
But her boyfriend like quits in like room 2 because he's a little bitch.
Well, he got worms in his ear, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
it's worms. What does he say?
Yeah.
There's worms in there.
So they're brought into this little room where they all meet each other and drink some chai, which is steaming far too much, which was kind of sus.
And this is also where I made my predictions for the movie.
Yeah.
Both of which mostly came true.
Yeah.
My predictions were, 1, that in the attic of the house, one of the characters would be found hanging from a noose. Mm-hmm. And it would be a scary scene when it happened. And also that similarly to in A Nightmare on Elm Street, hands would be pushed through like the fabric wall where it like stretches out like that poly material that's all stretchy. So it seems like someone's reaching out of the wall. There was a character who was found hanging in the attic, like exactly like I described it. And I was like, yes, I win this round. Definitely just seemed like one of those movies. Yeah. But while they did do shadows of hands behind sheets, they never did the stretchy wall part. So I was sort of close.
Yeah, you were sort of close.
I feel like relatively decent predictions.
Yeah.
But I'm disappointed. They should have done the stretchy wall thing. That's just such a cheap effect, and it looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like just creepy enough and would have been cheap, and they could have gotten away with something cool with that. But alas.
But yeah, so the plot of the escape room house, as it's displayed on a camera, is like there was an inventor who was obsessed with like communicating with the dead, and now there are 5 dead people who are trapped in the house, and you have to get them out. Yeah. Right. And then they wake up, and then it starts, and they're doing the whole
all
thing.
Given tea, and our theory was that they were drugged with ayahuasca. And that just never comes back around.
Yeah, because they bring up ayahuasca in like the first room. I guess maybe just a solid fake out.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just like, it's a little annoying that in our movie that has, is like, it's supposed to be truncated for time. It's a TV movie. Mm-hmm. Why would they divert so much of our attention on the tea if it didn't have any payoff? Yeah. So I just didn't really get that. Yeah. And especially since they mention ayahuasca in the next room, but I guess they also kind of probably want you to think maybe, just maybe they were drugged, because one of our characters starts seeing shit really early on. Yeah. And you start thinking like, it's Tyler, the boyfriend. Who is thinking like, he starts seeing stuff on his hands crawling, and we're like, oh cool, like some of them got drugged or some of them didn't, which could have added like an element where to confuse each other even further, but they never really do much with it. Tyler just quits really early on.
Yeah, so like they go into the next room and they communicate over the phone, and it's like the girlfriend character on the other line, and she wants to talk to Tyler, and we're like, oh, he's fucking dead. He dies. Yeah. Yeah, and then they keep pushing forward, and that's when they get separated in what was kind of a bad move in general.
Yeah, it's really interesting because Tyler leaves, and then he ends up just getting killed off screen and hung by a noose in the attic. And then they figure out the puzzle in the room with the phone, and they find Josie, the like caretaker character. They find her dead in a closet,
or like dying. She's been gutted.
Yeah, she's been stabbed in
it's like the inventor's here, and they're like not sure if it's real or not.
Yeah, they like that was some kind of fun stuff. Like, is this part of the game? Is this something that's like really happening for real? And I think that was kind of decent. And then they find that there's only one way out of the room, really, and it's getting our main character Karen up and over the door and into like a separate hallway. So that's what they do. She gets separated. She ends up downstairs in the morgue somehow.
Yeah.
And she stays down there forever.
Yeah.
It's like half of the movie she's down there. And that's a little like, it's a little dry. There's easily 2 commercial breaks around her in this morgue area.
There's like the one good part where they have the dead body appearing and disappearing, which I thought was good.
Oh yeah, so like the dead body gets slid out from one of the morgue things, and she like lifts up the cloth, and it's a dead body. She's scared, but then she also hears something like stomping around down in like the basement where she's at, which is actually a pretty decently dressed up set. Like you can tell it's just the basement of whatever house they used, but they dressed it up creepily enough. The geography of it works well enough in the movie's favor.
I think in general the geography of the house was non-Euclidean enough where it just like didn't make sense how they were getting bigger, up and downstairs.
Exactly. It felt bigger than it actually was. You could tell they had a limited amount of space to shoot this movie, and they made the house feel pretty manor-like.
Yeah.
You know, with what obviously wasn't a mansion. It was just a fairly large house.
Yeah.
So they did a good job with that.
Yeah.
Like using their setting or using their locations to their advantage for sure.
Yeah.
You know, because they probably had a tiny budget for locations. But she ends up hiding in one of the morgue like holes. I forget I don't know what they're called.
Like the body lockers or whatever.
Yeah, the body lockers. And like there's like one of the more tense scenes, like the dead body is like right next to her, and it starts moving on its own and like moving its hand over to grab her while she hears, you know, some creatures stomping around outside the lockers. You know, some good stuff. Probably the most tense part of the movie.
Yeah, they just let it go on for way too long, so it lost its tension.
Yeah, it went on for long enough that it was just like, okay, nothing's happening. And then it just turns out that Andrew, the juicer, ends up downstairs. And like
some stuff happens while they're separated because they're all looking for Karen, and they end up in this one projection room, and they find like a lock with a key. They figure out how to open it, and they all leave except for the girlfriend, who starts walking through the door and just keeps getting looped back
around. Yeah,
and eventually finds her boyfriend dead.
And then I think she like tries to climb up out of like the hole in the roof or something like that.
Yeah, on a
ladder. She falls back and like gets stabbed with like a pen in her eye.
She does the full loop of she talks on the phone too. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's right. That circles back around. But like they did some like kind of creative photography, like where they would have her like walk out of one side of the frame and then come back around the other side. So she was just looping, like she sees herself on like a film strip doing this loop over and over again, and then she actually just becomes the film strip doing it over and over again. And you know, it was just kind of creative. I don't know how they did it. I guess probably with mirrors.
Yeah, mirrors probably makes sense.
But it looked cool.
Mirrors and ghost cuts, like
and you know, not bad at all. And then she just dies, and she's just dead. And then I think the only other scene that really stood out when the characters were separated was when the dad, like the wall falls down and he's like in front of a pond.
Oh yeah, and that was kind of neat. That's set
piece was pretty decent.
Yeah.
And you know, he gets like chained up, and there's like a siren, like a sexy lady in the lake who's gonna pull him in. And he gets like tied with chains, and then like wakes up and he's back in the house, but still all covered in mud. And he's like, what the fuck just happened?
And what's really great about that, because that's like a mini loop in this like house that has a lot of loops, is he sees the muddy footprints before he goes through.
Yeah.
And
does
then he like makes them afterwards.
That's cool.
And it's like, okay, so he's like, you know, it's completely, you know, time irrelevant at this point.
Yeah.
And then
Andrew ends up in the basement, saves Karen, and then they find a way out. They have to like stick their hand in the toilet to get the key. We're just like, yo, what did she pulls like a turd out of there?
Yeah, just stuff.
I found something.
She finds a wedding ring. She gets down on one knee.
They find his severed hand in there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like, ah!
And then,
so good. That reminds me, in the movie Pain and Gain.
Yeah.
When there's the scene where The Rock like is supposed to get rid of the guy's fingerprints, and he does it by putting them on the grill. And there's like a scene where he opens up the grill and the hands are like rusting. And he's like, and like flips them. It's so insane.
I was so that reminded you of that, but all right.
Yeah, it's just severed hands can be funny in specific circumstances.
Sure. And it was in this one.
Yeah.
But Dad and Karen get back together, and they find a way out, and they end up in the bathroom scene in the beginning.
Yeah.
They walk out of the diner, and they find that their car's all fixed. And as they sit down to go drive, he's like, "Hey, where are the keys? Can you check the glove box?" And she's like, "Dad, Dad, Dad,
Dad, Dad." And she says it like 8 times. Then there's another lock, so they're still in the loop. So this reminded us of a movie we watched
over quarantine.
Yeah, over quarantine, called Grave Encounters, and also Grave Encounters 2, which the second one specifically had one of our favorite fake outs in a movie like this ever.
Yeah.
Basically, the kids in Grave Encounters 2, they go in, it's a found footage thing. They get stuck in there, and just like kind of like you mentioned with non-Euclidean stuff, like the layout of this like insane asylum doesn't make sense, and they're like looping back around, and they finally think they get out. They drive all the way to the hotel, get in the elevator, and then open up the elevator doors, and they're back in the insane asylum.
It's crazy because I think actually what happens is they drive to the hotel, go to their hotel room, like spend the night, get up,
eat continental breakfast,
go leave, and then the elevator takes it. It's like insanely long how long they make you think that, because it goes on long enough that it makes you really think that they're out.
Yeah.
And it was excellently executed. I love that scene.
Yeah. In an otherwise kind of goofy movie, it was a really cool fake out.
Yeah.
Both of those movies are actually really fun.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Definitely like examples of like fun found footage. And there's some like actually kind of creepy stuff in there, and some dumbass shit too, which is always enjoyable. But so it definitely reminded me of that a little bit. I found we like finished this movie and we were like, was that like better than we expected?
Yeah, I mean,
like actually was kind of fun.
Yeah, and for
what was clearly a TV movie.
I don't think, have we done any TV movies? Because like that,
I don't think so.
That stood up above some of like the fully produced, like hoping for theatrical release movies we've seen, because a lot of them haven't made theatrical releases. But like, yeah, I mean,
like actually a fun movie. And excuse me. Yeah, it was one of those things where it was, I think we found out that this was a sci-fi original movie, and those are obviously very hit or miss.
Huge,
every so often, a whole bunch of them are like asylum films, and I think this might have even been an asylum film. It might have been, I don't know, definitively. It didn't look like one.
No, it lacked like the tactless humor.
Yeah. So this was a sci-fi original, and it just goes to show that like, you could do smart, fun little things on a small budget, and it can be a nice little self-contained movie. It doesn't need to be a gigantic movie to get some worth out of it. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not a good movie.
No, I wouldn't say it's a good movie. I would say
it is definitely less bad.
It had flashes we were both like, once they start leaving, we both at separate times said like, why is it this high concept, and why is it kind of working? Like, because it was high, it was kind of like, I hate to talk about it compared to the last movie, because I liked a lot of the last movie as well, but it kind of nailed the high concept better than that movie, which is surprising, because like, it's not like it was amazing, don't get me wrong. Like it was
definitely more tied up.
Yeah, it was more well thought out earlier in the movie, and that made it pay off.
Our characters had no character development. It's like the polar opposite of Resolution. we got like a tightly wound up like narrative and a concept that they fully executed on but no characters,
bad acting.
Whereas Resolution had a good setting and strong characters, but like no fully fleshed out concept.
Yeah, exactly. They're they are stark opposites, definitely.
And
they both were kind of going for that high concept thing.
Yeah.
So there is some crossover there. I wouldn't say that I'd say they're still kind of apples and oranges, but
yeah. Like actually No Escape Room, in the way that like they were looping and they were seeing like copies of like the other characters, really reminded me of a movie called Triangle that I want you to watch at some point. And I don't want to give it away, but there was something similar where they get stuck in a loop and then like copies of the characters start to like operate independently. And it's pretty interesting stuff.
Fun.
And there's like a couple like really like good scenes that come out of it. Yeah, I mean like I was pleasantly surprised with No Escape Room. It's on Netflix.
Weird pick up Netflix, by the way.
Yeah. It's just like it must have been really cheap.
Yeah,
like probably, right?
The fact that they're even like putting it up as like one of the movies that they release as a new and noteworthy is kind of
like it's really interesting because No Escape Room felt like a Tubi movie, and it makes me wonder if Netflix is like really scraping the bottom of the barrel for just anything at this point.
Yeah,
because this felt like a Tubi release.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have watched it if it was on Tubi. It wouldn't have stuck out.
Yeah, exactly. It would have just blended in with all of the other crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so
there's definitely worse stuff that's on Tubi too.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So I don't know. I mean, like,
there's a lot of unwatchable shit on Tubi.
But that's the like kind of the magic. There's no other streaming service in the world where you can go from like having decent, like new noteworthy picks to just having like something that was filmed on like a potato,
like Da Booty Shop.
Yeah. And Da Booty Butt Club.
Da Booty Shop's so funny. It's about like strippers who have to save a beauty shop. So it's called Da Booty Shop.
That's fucking great, actually. That's a great title.
But it literally looks among the worst of any movies. The color,
don't agree. It looks amazing.
No, I've never seen a movie color corrected so it's the most tan movie.
Oh, I have. I know it's that ugly brown.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like the worst color filtering.
It's so bad.
I know exactly what you mean. That's like what was it? Hot Summer Nights had like a tan, like a really brown color filter on it.
Think browner.
It's so bad. Like when the whole world looks like it's sepia, but it's like not like well color. Like they didn't shoot good scenes for it to look good with sepia, because it's like they shoot things with colors and the colors just come out muted and gross and brown. Yeah, that sucks.
Do you want to get into our review?
Yeah, let's rate the No Escape Motel.
Okay. That dad loves his daughter.
Aww.
Ava and I like to talk during the movie about how it was really weird that the dad character seemed like he was jealous when his daughter was flirting with the guy.
That's like what was happening. It was so weird.
He was like mad at everyone because he thought that everyone was like flirting with his daughter.
Everyone was flirting with his daughter.
Yeah, why was everyone flirting? Anyway, This movie was fine. I'd watch it if you have nothing else to watch. I'd give it a 4.
Nice. All right. There you go. No Escape Room. This movie was on TV because it was. Hold your applause, please. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Better not wake up the cat.
He's being a baby.
Yeah, this movie was on TV at one point and was better than I expected, but still not very good. It feels cruel, but a 4 is definitely like where it should be, and it goes without saying that is better than it should be.
Yeah,
all things considered.
I mean, we haven't watched a lot of TV movies for like reference points, but I can't imagine they get much better than that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the sci-fi originals, and they are definitely all over the place. A lot of them are that like asylum level stuff, but then there are every so often some that just hit this like spot where they're low budget and the acting is terrible, but they have like an okay enough concept that it like actually works and gets you through the movie. I would totally be down to go back through some sci-fi originals.
We could do a sci-fi original night.
Yeah, I think we
or week or whatever the fuck.
I'm sure most of them are on Tubi. Like, I mean, they probably are.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are just so terrible. I think what I love about them is that they're feature length, but they're like TV quality. So it's like they're just bad movies.
Yeah.
It's great. It's just great. There's a gold mine there. The Asylum is a little too cynical for me.
Yeah. I don't really love Asylum movies.
Like,
I'll say it.
A lot of them like are like Sharknado, where it's like you get the joke. It's like, we get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you actually don't have to finish this movie. Like, this could be a 20-minute beginning of a movie and then just stop.
Honestly, you could just read the title and then you pretty much get the whole thing.
Honestly, it could just be a meme somewhere, and then you got, boom, done. You just have to make the poster.
That's all it is.
It's way cheaper than making the movie and hiring.
They should just, they should just stop making movies and just make posters.
Yeah,
that explain the whole thing.
Cut their overhead.
Yeah, really cut. That's what it'll be. You just absorb movies via osmosis. You just touch the poster and you absorb it.
I'm snarting.
Yeah, well, that's the downside is that you have to publicly snart every time it happens.
I'll snart. I'll snart anytime. I'm snarting right
now. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the No Escape Room, Texas
the No
Chainsaw,
Tell Motel,
and the Retribution,
Resolution, and
Texas. Oh, and
we keep forgetting that one.
Haunting in Connecticut 2, The Ghosts of Georgia.
Freaking Ghosts of Georgia. Well, yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys have not, and leave us I said 4 stars. Leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and we will buy you a donkey.
Damn.
That's right. El burro.
Avery.
El burrito.
Yeah, we agreed on burritos. Like, donkey's way more expensive. Just reading the script
buy you
wrong.
A gift card to Freebirds.
If you're in Texas.
I think they're in Colorado too.
You're in Texas or Colorado. Sorry.
Or actually, I think they're in New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas,
no
Louisiana,
one lives in any of those places.
Wyoming, Utah, California, Nevada.
No one lives in Wyoming.
Yeah, so if you're in any of those states, you know what? Let's just say contiguous United States. We'll buy you a gift card if you leave us 5 stars.
Yeah.
Actually, Ash will buy you one.
Okay.
Yeah, as the bankroll of the podcast.
Yeah, that's not true.
The official money guy. I need like a register noise. Cha-ching. All right, that's right. Well, send us an email if you want a gift card for the story podcast at gmail.com. I don't check it.
Yep.
So you're going to be waiting a while for that burrito.
But it's not going to get old because they make them fresh.
That's true. Well, we're going to order it and we're going to send it to them. So it might get old.
Yeah, we're going to do it via Pony Express.
Via carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
We're going to Morse code you a burrito. So I hope you have your 3D printers.
I hope you're ready for us to email you a printer.
A printer. Email them a printer for them to print out a burrito.
All right. Bye, guys.
Oh, I'm not done here. What are some more ridiculous? All right. No, for real. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening. We love you all so much. Goodbye.